we got a clear way for it.
Well, Mr. Herron, how are you today?
It'd be better if I could see the evidence of jurisdiction, Judge.
Well, Mr. Herron, we're going to see what the prosecutor has. And already made rulings on that, so we're going to go a step beyond that. We'll have the opportunity to question the officer.
Well, I object to that, Judge. I would just like to see the evidence of jurisdiction. I don't have any questions for the officer. I mainly have questions for clarifications for the prosecution. Whenever she gets in, I can ask her if she has the evidence. But I don't know if the record's going right now, but if it is, I do object to these proceedings continuing forward. I do object being here right now, and I wish for this to be over.
Mr. Herron, we all wish for this to be over, but it's not going to happen right now.
Well, I have not pled to the proceedings. I have not been arraigned. I still would like to be able to be informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings.
Mr. Herron, I'm going to wait till we get on the record, and we'll take your comments.
All electronics are ready. I just need you to tell me when and I'll start it up.
Okay, this is the 6th day of September, 2016. We're here on the cases. The state of Texas City allowed speeding. Both offenses alleged to have occurred on March the 3rd, 2016. Ms. Williams, are you ready?
We are ready.
And Mr. Herron, are you ready?
Objection. The prosecution is not ready to proceed. I have not been arraigned. I have not pled to the proceedings. Judge, I am still looking for the evidence of jurisdiction that the prosecution hasn't submitted. I move to dismiss at this time for the prosecution's failure to prosecute.
Your motion is going to be overruled, Mr. Herron.
On what grounds?
You have been arraigned, Mr. Herron. I specifically arraigned you last time you were here. You were arraigned previously, but I did it again last time, just so you were advised of the charges against you. You did not enter a plea. You said it was your intent to plead guilty, but that you wanted to have evidence of jurisdiction. I have addressed the jurisdiction issue on 3 different occasions, taking prima facie, or the citation and the complainant's prima facie evidence of jurisdiction, and also Section 4.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure.
Well, objection, point of clarification, Judge.
Herron, wait a minute. That did not seem to satisfy you, so sua sponte, I ordered the citing officer, Officer Jonathan Gann, to be here today. Officer Gann is here. So I will take your comments as a plea of not ready, but I will also find that I have satisfied the arraignment qualification.
Objection, point of clarification, Judge. I have not been arraigned. I am still seeking to be informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings.
Mr. Herron.
Has the prosecution submitted any evidence satisfying the element of jurisdiction?
Mr. Herron, you have been advised of the charges against you numerous times.
Judge, may I please see the evidence that the prosecution is not submitting, or has the prosecution submitted? I'm simply just trying to see the evidence, Judge.
Mr. Herron, I brought Officer Gann in.
All of this extra stuff isn't necessary, Judge. I just want to plead guilty and move on, but I'd like to be informed before I can do so.
Ms. Williams, call your first witness.
Objection, point of clarification. I do not wish to proceed. I am still seeking to be informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings.
You've been advised, Mr. Herron.
I have not been informed of I have not pled to the proceedings, Judge. How can we proceed if I have not been arraigned? I have not pled to the proceedings.
If you're not pleading to the proceedings, I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf.
Objection, point of clarification. My intention is to plead guilty, Judge. My intention is to plead guilty. I would just want to enter a voluntary and informed plea here today. May I please see the evidence that the prosecution is relying on? Or do I have the right to be informed of the facts that the prosecution is relying on to prosecute here today?
That is why Officer Gannon is here, I believe, Mr. Heron.
Well, objection, if the prosecution how has the prosecution been able to satisfy her burden of proof and force me through this trial that's attempting to go on here today?
Mr. Heron, this is not a trial, this is a hearing in support of in response to your claim that the court does not have jurisdiction to hear this matter.
I have not made any claims. Objection, point of clarification. I have not made any claims. I am simply trying to clarify the assertions from the prosecution. Has the prosecution submitted any evidence satisfying the element of jurisdiction?
Officer Gannon, you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? State your name, please.
Talking again.
And you officer with the Live Oak Police Department?
Objection. This is, how can we proceed? I have still not been arraigned. I object to anything continuing. The prosecution is not ready because she has not submitted any evidence. I have not seen any evidence of jurisdiction. Can I please be informed of the facts that the prosecution is relying on?
That's what I believe she'll be able to show today. I don't know what he's going to testify to, so we're going to proceed. And how long have you been with the Live Oak Police Department?
5 years.
Okay, Ms. Williams, do you
Thank
wish
you.
to question your officer?
Officer Gann, were you on duty on the date of March 3rd, 2016 at about 1:30 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, relevance.
Call coming into contact with...
Objection, relevance.
Yes, ma'am.
Outside the
How is it that-
pleadings,
how is it
Judge.
that you recognize the defendant?
He does not have any firsthand knowledge of the code's applicability, Judge. This is all irrelevant.
Proceed.
Overruled.
Organized it because there was video taken of the incident, and I recall that the incident happened that night.
And what is it that you recall that evening?
I remember him coming down 13500 block of Vice Street.
Objection, relevance, Judge.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
He was speeding. I stopped him in the parking lot next to Gino's.
Objection calls for a lawful conclusion.
And
Overruled, Mr. Heron.
I stopped him. There was, I believe, an odor of marijuana, and that's when I found the paraphernalia.
Okay, now...
Objection,
Where was
relevance.
the location that you originally observed the defendant speeding?
Was the right in front of Jordan Ford on the
Which
access
is
road.
where?
The 13500 block by 35 North.
Objection, relevance.
In the city of Live Oak.
Overruled.
Okay, now, at the time that you witnessed the defendant committing this violation, can you state today whether or not these two charges, speeding and possession of drug paraphernalia, represent criminal offenses under state law?
Yes.
Objection,
Now,
relevance.
The location that you just testified to, the 13,500 block of Interstate Highway 35 North access, is that location completely located within the territorial limits of the city of Live Oak, Bexar County, Texas?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And can you
Objection,
identify,
relevance.
for us what
Overruled.
this
It all goes to jurisdiction, Mr.
what
Heron.
this document is that's on the screen behind you?
It is a copy of the map of the city of Live Oak, the limits.
Okay, and do you recognize this document and what it reflects?
Objection, relevance.
Okay, you said you do.
Yes,
Overruled.
ma'am, it is.
Okay, Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
All right, now, can you describe for the court and on the record the location of the 13,500 block of Interstate Highway 35 North access?
So right there,
Okay,
right there, Pembroke Road, there's 35 North, and right there where it's pointed is the access road.
all right,
Objection,
now,
relevance.
Can you state
Overruled.
where the boundaries of the city limits of the city of Live Oak are in the vicinity of IH 35 North access at the location of the 13,500 block?
So right here, is about the boundary, and then the offense occurred.
Objection, relevance.
Now, is it your testimony today that the location where you witnessed the offenses that are, as you stated, criminal offenses under the laws of the state of Texas, that those law offenses occurred wholly within the municipal boundaries of the city of Live Oak, Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, will pass the witness.
Mr. Heron, do you have any questions of this witness?
Do you have any personal firsthand knowledge that the codes are applicable to me because of my physical location in Texas?
Objection, Your Honor, that's a legal question.
I'll sustain the objection. I'll let you rephrase it though, Mr. Heron.
I move to strike if the witness is not clearly competent to testify on legal conclusions and interpretations of the law, how can the defendant say I was speeding in his testimony? I mean, not the defendant, how can the witness say I was speeding in his testimony?
This is solely an issue of jurisdiction. If you want to go to trial, we can go to trial.
He testified to everything that was outside of the proceedings, outside of the pleadings. I objected to all of that, Judge. Do I have a right to a fair and meaningful hearing here today?
Yes, sir, you've always been given a fair and meaningful hearing.
Judge, do I have the right to enter a plea of
Objection,
guilty
Your
here
Honor.
today, Judge?
Objection,
You
ask
do
and
have that right.
answer.
You do have that right, Mr. Herring.
Do I have a right to enter an informed plea of guilty here today, Judge?
You've been informed of the charges against you, Mr. Herring, on
State
numerous occasions.
states his objection as to ask and answer, Judge.
Objection, Judge. May I please see the evidence that the prosecution has submitted satisfying the element of jurisdiction?
Please state the response to the objection on the record, Judge.
The issue of jurisdiction has been discussed by the officer, on questioning by the city attorney, and based on that testimony and taking judicial knowledge of 4.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, finding that the alleged offenses occurred within the city limits of the city of Live Oak County, finds that this court has jurisdiction to proceed.
Objection, point of clarification. Is that an arbitrary opinion or is that based on facts and evidence?
That's based on the factual evidence I just heard from the officer.
And may I please see the evidence satisfying the element of jurisdiction that because I was physically in a geographical location, that the codes and statutes are applicable to me. This officer has no personal first-hand knowledge of how the codes are applicable. The prosecution has not submitted any evidence satisfying the applicability of the codes. I move to dismiss based on lack of factual evidence satisfying that because I was physically in a geographical location that the codes are applicable.
You're operating a motor vehicle, Mr. Herring, you've already admitted that within the...
Objection, point of clarification. I never said anything of such. If I did, I may have misspoken. I am simply here trying to clarify the assertions of the prosecution. May I please see the evidence that they're using or that they have submitted or be informed of the facts or the evidence just because I'm physically in a geographical location that the codes are applicable to me.
Section 4.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, Mr. Herring, which I'm sure you've referred to on numerous occasions, because those code sections have been referred to you.
Judge, that's a logical fallacy. The codes being applicable within themselves is a logical fallacy. That makes absolutely no sense for a code to substantiate itself and make it true. May I see something that substantiates the facts that the prosecution is attempting to rely on?
They're adopted as laws of the state of Texas. If you don't believe in the laws of the state of Texas, that's your business. If you don't believe in the laws that are applicable to...
Objection, Judge. I'm not making any claims. Those are not my beliefs. You're restating things and putting words in my mouth, Judge. I am simply trying to see the evidence. I'm not making any claims. I am simply trying to clarify the assertions of the prosecution. May I please be informed of the facts and or see the evidence that she is using to prosecute here today?
This is not a trial on the merits, Mr. Herring. This was a hearing solely on the issue of jurisdiction. If you wish to go forward on a trial on the merits, either with me or a jury, since you think I'm biased and prejudiced in this matter, we can bring a jury in and let those 6 people decide the case.
Objection, point of clarification. My intention is to plead guilty here today. I would just like to be informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings. Once I am fully informed to the cause and nature of the proceedings, and I have been arraigned, when I do get arraigned, I can fully enter an informed plea. But to preserve the record for appeal, I have not been arraigned. I have not pled to the proceedings. I am challenging jurisdiction at this time, and I would like to see the evidence that the prosecution has submitted satisfying the element of jurisdiction.
Mr. Herring, you refused to enter a plea.
Objection. I did not refuse, Judge. I would simply cannot enter a plea if I am not informed. Does this court accept uninformed and involuntary pleas?
No, sir, not at all. But we do need a plea. If you don't want to enter a plea, I'll enter a plea for you.
Judge, my intention is to plead guilty here today. I would just like to be informed. Can I please see the evidence that the prosecution is relying on satisfying the applicability of the codes? I will sign my unsigned plea of guilty, and we can be done with this, Judge.
Mr. Herring, we're not going to go through this anymore. You're a smart gentleman. You understand what is going on in these proceedings. You understand that you've been advised of the charges against you. You understand that Ms. Williams. is-
Objection, point of
I
clarification.
presume that you understand the proceedings against you. Maybe that was a mistake, but I presume that you did. Ms. Williams has presented factual evidence from the officer, the location, and the alleged offenses occurred within the city limits of Live Oak. So the jurisdiction issue, Mr. Heron, is closed.
Objection, point of clarification. May I please see the evidence so we can close the evidence, so we can close the jurisdiction issue?
You have the right to ask officer questions if you want to question his.
I do not wish to ask officer questions at this time. My intention is to still seek clarification as to the assertions of the prosecution. Once I have been informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings, then I can enter a plea. Until I have been informed, I cannot enter a voluntary and informed plea. Judge, do I have the right to be informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings here today?
Mr. Heron, for I don't know how many times, yes, you do, and you have been informed.
Then can I please be informed as to the specific factual evidence of jurisdiction and how they are applicable, because I am physically in Texas. Because of my geographical location, that the codes are applicable. May I see that evidence?
In the jurisdiction of the state of Texas, city of Live Oak, Mr. Heron. Bear County, Texas. There's nothing further.
Objection, point of clarification. My challenge to jurisdiction still has not been satisfied. I have yet to see any evidence that satisfies the applicability of the codes.
Mr. Herrick, you may not be satisfied to your satisfaction, but as far as the court's concerned, jurisdiction has been shown sufficiently for the court to move forward with this.
Objection, point of clarification. Can I please see that evidence?
You just heard the evidence, Mr. Herron, just like I did, just like Ms. Williams did, just like...
Objection, point of clarification. What I just heard was the prosecution say that the officer was not competent to make conclusions that he prior did in his testimony. So she has an inconclusive witness. I would just like to see the evidence that the codes are applicable. If this officer has personal firsthand knowledge that the codes are applicable, I would like to see it. If he does not, then his testimony is irrelevant at this time. I would like to see the factual evidence that the prosecution is required to submit before imposing on a presumed innocent person.
Applicability of the codes of the state of Texas, Judge, are issues of law, not issues of fact. The state has complied with the law by establishing the applicability.
Objection, that's
of
outside the
section
proceeding.
4.14,
That's just a logical fallacy, having the code be applicable within itself. That's a logical fallacy and that's illogical. Can we please focus on logics and ethics?
I wish we could.
Can I please see the evidence that the prosecution still is yet to provide? If the prosecution has evidence satisfying the element of jurisdiction, or this officer has firsthand knowledge of how the codes are applicable, I would love to see how it is. Officer, do you have personal firsthand knowledge of the code's applicability?
Yes.
And what evidence do you have that the codes are applicable?
Commit the offense in Live Oak.
And what evidence do you have that the offense was committed inside of Live Oak?
I observed it.
Are you saying that Live Oak is the ground?
Excuse me?
Are you saying that the city of Live Oak is the ground that you walk on physically?
The offense that took place was in Live Oak.
And are you saying that Live Oak is the ground that you physically walk on?
Objection, asked and answered.
That was not answered.
Mr. Herron, I don't understand your question. Why don't you rephrase it? Are you asking him whether the offense is alleged to have occurred within the city limits of the city of Live Oak?
No, Judge, is what I'm asking. If he's saying that the offense happened in Live Oak, and he said yes, and I'm asking if Live Oak is the ground that you walk on. Is that what you're saying? That the offense happened inside Live Oak? Are you clarifying Live Oak as the ground you walk on?
If it's in Live Oak, yes.
Well, objection. May I please see the evidence that the codes are applicable?
Code of Criminal Procedure, Transportation Code are both applicable to people who operate a motor vehicle within the city limits.
Judge, are you determining that I was operating a motor vehicle?
I just heard testimony that you were, Mr. Aaron.
Judge, you heard incohesive testimony from someone that the prosecution object to answering, whether the codes are applicable. He says he has personal firsthand knowledge that the codes are applicable. I would like to know how the codes are applicable. Where's the evidence that the codes are applicable? Because I am physically in a geographical location that the codes are now applicable.
Ms. Williams, you want to respond to that again?
I'm sorry?
You want to respond to that again?
It's just asked and answered, Judge. It's irrelevant to the issues in the case. This has just been a ridiculous reassertion of the same arguments that the court has ruled on multiple times, and I would ask that the court move on.
Objection, point of clarification. How can we move on if I have still yet to be arraigned, I have not pled to the proceedings, and I am still seeking evidence satisfying the element of jurisdiction?
You have been arraigned.
Objection, point of clarification. How can I be arraigned if the prosecution has failed to satisfy her burden of proof?
Judge, I don't even know how to continue to object because the defendant is communicating directly with the court instead of posing questions to a witness. This entire line of questions and badgering the court over and over.
Objection, point of clarification. She is misrepresenting the facts.
Mr. Herron, let her finish.
She's misrepresenting the facts.
Mr. Herron, let her finish.
This entire line of question and argumentative discussion.
Objection, there is no arguments going on here. Simply trying to clarify.
Argumentative, Judge, as you know, is a specific type of objection that is recognized by the Texas Rules of Procedure, not simply arguing with the court. Now, I would ask that the court disregard the continued arguments directly with the court.
Objection, point of clarification. These are not arguments to the court. They're simple clarifications.
Is improper.
Okay, we're going to terminate these proceedings, Mr. Herron, since you seem to not be able to explain
Objection,
yourself.
objection,
as far as
point of
the
clarification.
Not clarification, Mr. Herron.
Do I not have the right today to be informed to the cause and nature of the proceedings?
Sure you do, Mr.
Do I have a right to a fair and meaningful hearing here today, Judge?
You have had, Mr. Herron.
So are you saying that I do have the right for a fair and meaningful hearing, not the fact that your opinion states that you are attempting to give one?
I have given you one, Mr. Herron.
So, Judge, do I have the right to a fair and meaningful hearing today?
I've already told you that you have.
If I do have the right to a fair and meaningful hearing today, why am I being forced in and out of these proceedings and forced to be continued in ignorance without evidence that the prosecution is not submitting? The prosecution is continuing to gain ample time to produce her case and get together factual evidence when she has failed to present such so far.
Judge, since the court has adjourned these proceedings, may the officer be excused?
Yes, let me just say one more thing. Mr. Herron, this proceeding was solely on the issue of jurisdiction. If you wish to go to trial, I know what you said about you have the intent to plead guilty.
Objection, I do not wish to go to trial, Judge. My intention is to plead guilty here today.
Facts of the case, aside from jurisdiction, would be proven on a trial of the merits.
Objection, point of clarification. I do not wish to go to any trial. I don't want any type of legalese or any type of communications that's going on between this court. I just want to see the evidence that satisfies the code's applicability, and that because I was physically in a geographical location that they apply to me. Once I have seen that evidence, then we can continue to, determine how I need to go from there. But again, to preserve the record for appeal, I have not been arraigned, I have not pled to the proceedings, and I have challenged jurisdiction.
Mr. Herron, you have been advised of proceedings.
I'm still looking for the evidence that the prosecution has not submitted satisfying the element of jurisdiction. Judge, may I please see that evidence? Without continuing these proceedings in favor for the prosecution, may I please just see the evidence and be done with this matter here today?
You've been presented with, or the court has been presented with sufficient evidence to find the jurisdiction of these two cases exist. So the issue of jurisdiction is concluded.
Objection, point of clarification. May I please see the evidence?
You've heard the evidence, Mr. Herron.
Well, can I please have the factual do I have the right to be informed of the factual information that the prosecution has?
asked and answered, Judge. This is.
You've heard it, you heard from the witness stand yourself, Mr. Herron. If you wish to obtain a copy of the transcript,
The witness himself did not testify to the code's applicability.
that's a legal question, Mr. Herron. Refer to the Code of Criminal Procedure.
Objection, that's a logical fallacy. The code substantiating themselves is a logical fallacy. Is this court trying to proceed on logical fallacies?
Mr. Herron, the court is proceeding according to the rules of procedure.
Objection, point of clarification. I have not been arraigned. I am still seeking to be informed to the cause and nature of the proceedings. Judge, can you please ask the prosecution to satisfy the element of jurisdiction? May I please see the evidence, or at least just tell me how the codes are applicable?
You've been advised of the code's applicability before
Objection, point of clarification. May I please see how the codes are applicable?
and today. So,
Judge, objection, point of clarification. I was not informed of the code's applicability today. All I was informed was that the prosecution has a witness that she objected to entering any type of clarification to how the codes apply. May I please see the evidence that the codes are applicable?
Ms. Williams recited those are legal issues, and I agree with that assertion.
Objection, is that an arbitrary opinion, or did she submit factual evidence? Judge, that right there is a bias towards the prosecution. I move that you recuse yourself.
I'm not going to recuse myself. Mr. Herron,
Then I move that you dismiss the prosecution's alleged case.
I'm not going to dismiss the prosecution's cases.
Do I have the right to see or be informed of the factual evidence that the codes are applicable?
You have the right to have a trial on the merits, Mr.
Objection, point of clarification. I do not wish to continue the trial. My intention is to plead guilty here today. Do I have the right to plead guilty here today, Judge?
Sure you do.
Judge.
Do I have the right to enter an informed and involuntary plea here today,
At this time, I
Judge?
would like to present the court with the statute that describes. what
Objection,
exactly
relevant.
an
The
arraignment
code
is.
substantiated itself as the logical
Mr.
fallacy.
That's the reason we're going to terminate these proceedings.
Objection, that's outside the proceeding, Judge.
Mr. Herron, that's the reason we're going to terminate these proceedings, because all you want to do is interrupt and disrupt.
Judge, if I don't make it clear on the record that I object, the acquiesce gives my consent. I do not wish to acquiesce any consent, but I do not wish for the prosecution to be allowed to argue without any evidence.
Judge,
I would like to see the evidence without her citing codes or laws.
The state would like an opportunity to provide the court with an answer to the defendant's question with respect to arraignment. Under Article 26.02 of the Texas Code of Criminal
Objection,
Procedure,
relevant.
it states an arraignment takes place for the
That's a
purpose
logical
of
fallacy.
fixing his identity and hearing his plea. That is the only thing that an arraignment is, and the defendant has been arraigned multiple times.
Objection, point of clarification. I have not been arraigned. I am still seeking to be informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings.
These proceedings are done.
I'm still seeking to try to be informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings, Judge.
Mr. Herron,
Do I have the right to handle these matters here today?
Mr. Herron, because you cannot proceed without interrupting these proceedings.
May the state be excused?
Yes, you.
Objection, point of clarification. I would just like to finish this here today, Judge.
We probably stay here till 11:30 tonight, and I would hear the same objections and same complaints, Mr. Herron.
Well, prosecution's already gone. Their alleged witness is already gone. I object to the proceedings, Judge. I move that you dismiss this.
I'm not going to dismiss the cases, Mr. Herron. You can go forward however you wish.
Judge, I would like to be informed, Judge. How can I be informed if the prosecution has left without satisfying the element of jurisdiction?
Element of jurisdiction's been satisfied, Mr. Herron.
Objection, point of clarification. My intention is to plead guilty here today. Do I have the right to enter an informed and voluntary plea?
You may enter whatever plea you wish to, Mr. Herron.
Judge, may I please see the evidence that the prosecution is relying on satisfying the element of jurisdiction?
But it doesn't seem like any plea that you would enter is satisfied by the jurisdictional evidence which was presented, which the court finds to be sufficient.
Objection, point of clarification. Can this court accept an uninformed plea?
Not going to, Mr. Herron. I never said I would.
Then, Judge, how can I not be informed so I can enter a plea that's informed and voluntarily given?
You've been informed from Mr. Herring.
Objection, point of clarification. How can I be fully informed if I have still yet to be informed how the codes are actually applicable?
The laws of the state of Texas are applicable to all citizens who operate in.
Objection, you're making claims saying I'm a citizen and stuff, Judge.
That's not the way it works. You don't object to what I'm saying. I'm trying to explain it to you, although that's not going to do any good either. So, these proceedings are concluded. You just,
Sir, I take that to mean that
I'm not sure where we go from here, but
Objection, point of clarification. Can I please be informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings, Judge?
okay.
I'm still seeking to be informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings, Judge.
you have been informed, Mr. Herring.
Objection, how can I be informed if I have still yet to be informed as to the facts or the evidence satisfying how the codes are applicable?
You have been informed, Mr. Herring.
Objection, point of clarification. I'm still trying to see the evidence satisfying the element of jurisdiction.
Mr. Herring, let me back up a minute. You don't object to what I say. That's not the way the rules work. Okay? And your point of clarification, you can point of clarification all you want to, but an objection to what I say is not an objection. So, this proceeding is concluded.
Objection, point of clarification. Judge, my intention is to plead guilty here today.
Well, that's not going to happen if you're not prepared to enter a plea.
Objection, point of clarification, Judge. I'm trying to enter an informed plea. I just trying to see the evidence and the factual evidence that the codes are applicable. May I please see the evidence that the codes are applicable?
You've been presented with evidence. I've cited the statutory reference to you on numerous occasions, and so this proceeding is concluded.
Objection, point of clarification, Judge. I am trying to enter an informed and voluntary plea here today. I am still seeking clarification as to the cause and nature of the proceedings. Do I have the right to do so here today, Judge?
Mr. Herring, yes, you are, and you've been informed.
Objection, point of clarification. Can we please have the prosecution return so we can finish these matters here today?
No, sir. I concluded these proceedings about 5 minutes ago as a courtesy to you. I stayed here and again tried to explain it to you, but you don't want to understand or refuse to understand, and so...
Objection, point of clarification. I'm not attempting to refuse or argue, Judge. I'm simply just trying to enter a voluntary and informed plea here. Can we please have the prosecution come back in before end of day so I can enter a voluntary and informed plea?
These proceedings are concluded, Mr. Herring.
Well, they've already cleared the courtroom. I don't know where we go from here, but we'll see how they threaten us in the mail.
Man, I couldn't do what you do, brother.
Hey, thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate it.
said you
All right,
would.
YouTube, we got SAS.